All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my Premier League Elite Eight week two. So this is after game week two. Recording this on Wednesday and kind of in between the game weeks. Pretty exciting game week with pretty good matchups with Tottenham United. Tottenham taking care of United in the second half. Um, City kind of a grinding out win, slow win to against Newcastle, controlling the game a lot. Pretty good defensive performance. Um, what else was there? Liverpool taking care of business. Arsenal taking care of business, going 10 men down. Uh, a lot of red cards this week. Maybe the new rules adjusting that, affecting that. Um, Giving a lot, refs are giving out a lot of yellows, a lot of second yellow red cards. I think even in Wolves, I think Nunez, who might be going to Manchester City, just got a red card on his second yellow as well. So, pretty interesting adjustment that the players are going to have to make, especially when it comes to time wasting and even doing the little red card, signal or card signal. I think Tonali actually, I think I saw him. He was doing the Italian thing, like trying to talk to the refs, and I think the ref gave him a yellow card straight away. I don't know if he mistaked him for doing the card signal, but yeah, a lot of I think the theme of this weekend was a lot of yellow cards, a lot of red cards, a lot of teams holding on, even down 10 men. West Ham held on with 10 men. Arsenal held on with 10 men. Liverpool held on with 10 men. So pretty interesting weekend. And then Brentford and Brighton still scoring a bunch of goals. So yeah, let's get into it. Top eight. So first, I think I'm gonna have to move Man City up. I think I tweeted this over the weekend. I think Man City, their next objective, I think, is to hold or to try to get to close to that Chelsea record of only conceding 15 goals in a season, which is pretty insane. That old Mourinho team with Chelsea, with John Terry, yeah, I think Ivanovic, a bunch of guys, Peter Cech, um, very strong defense. And obviously the record for goals conceded in a season, 15, not even one game, not even one game every forget one goal every game, forget one goal every 2 games, not even one goal every 2 games, which is insane. Um, I'm not sure if City will get close to that just because I think the quality of the Premier League has probably gone up, especially in the attacking sense and the inverted fullbacks and teams are just smarter at build up, I think, these days. But 15 goals, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Maybe 20 to 25, maybe 20. 20 would be a good target for them. Obviously, they haven't conceded yet, and let's see who they have next weekend. They have Sheffield United, should be another clean sheet, if everything goes to plan for Manchester City. But yeah, that back four was, I think it was Vardio, Diaz, Akanji, and Ake. Akanji was stepping into the midfield, trying to help support Rodri and Kovacic. So against a really physical Newcastle midfield. Um, I thought Newcastle actually held their own. They were, like I said, they're a physical team. They weren't afraid of Man City, like just sitting back and absorbing pressure. They were actually trying to go out on the front foot a little bit, but they would never, put together a consistent enough attack and consistent enough, consecutive passes to actually build out an attack. Um, they only accumulated point 0.3 expected goals, so nothing much from them. They had a couple of chances actually. I thought they could have taken it, especially in the second half. I think Rodri gave the ball away, but yeah, tough game for Newcastle. Obviously, going away from home, going to the Etihad. Like I just said, they have the best defensive, I guess probably lineup in the league. Um, Looks like they're adding Matheus Nunes, like I said, from Wolves. I think they just bid like 40 or 50 million for him, so it looks like they're adding him. However, Phil Foden looks like he's ready to maybe take a step this season to absorb more of those balls in the number 10 position up the field. Obviously his touch is great. Just I think it was the assist on the goal. He had a great touch to just drag it forward with him because the pass was a little bit behind him. He brought it forward with him, had a clean touch, slid it across to Alvarez. We see so many cutbacks with Man City just because, they absorb the pressure and then they usually get an out ball. So this time it was Foden getting in the out ball. Like I said, got a brilliant couple touches. Got it to Alvarez, and what a strike. Um, Amazing strike by Julian Alvarez. Like I said, I think I might have said in this preseason, maybe not, maybe a couple years, or back in January when he was winning the World Cup with Argentina. But he's definitely one of the best second strikers in the league, and I think Pep even sees that. He's having to play him as almost like a double second striker, almost like a he's almost playing the number 10, but kind of Foden playing that as well with Kyle Walker usually providing the width, but um, Foden when in that number 10 was pretty good. I don't know if people were trying to overrate his performance, but I thought it was a good, solid performance, and it shows that he's obviously capable of doing it. Now he just needs to show it more consistently. Um, but the main question for City is who's going to step up. Obviously, in Kevin De Bruyne's absence for a couple months, so Foden looked good in that role, and should be continuing to get rack up goals and assists and meaningful dribbles and passes in the attacking third because Rodri's going to supply him with those passes. Rodri's an excellent ball player from kind of like in front of the defense. He's cleaning up, but he's also giving balls out to, like I said, Walker, who was giving a lot of width to City's attack. But yeah, Foden was stepping up, and then the next person probably that I want to see step up is Jack Grealish, but we'll see in a couple of other games. Newcastle has a pretty good defense themselves, so we'll see how Grealish steps up in terms of his actual output in terms of goals and assists and actual chances created for Holland and Foden. Now he has some runners next to him, not just Kevin De Bruyne asking for the ball. Although De Bruyne is obviously an excellent runner as well, so we'll see how he adjusts to that as well. Even Nunez, he's a runner in the midfield. He loves to get forward in the attacking third, so we'll see how he does. Obviously, Newcastle they slide to, I would say probably I don't know. I don't want to ding them that much for losing, 1-0 at the Etihad. So I'll probably knock them down to fourth for now. We'll see if any other risers from the weekend come up. But I think Arsenal and Brighton is a good 2-3 right now. I think that's the table as well. Obviously Brighton hasn't really played any tough opponent yet. They've beaten Wolves, put 4 goals past them, and they beat Luton Town. So they put 4 goals past them. So not the strongest defenses that they're going up against, but obviously you're still looking you're still impressed by the way they're handling the lower half of the table teams. The bottom 5, 6 teams that most people expected in the preseason, Luton and Wolves. So Matoma and Stupinan continue to have a good partnership, great chemistry between those guys. Obviously Matoma's done it for almost 2 years now, so everybody expects him to be efficient and effective in the final third. He had a really nice run to get his first goal in this game against Wolves. Although Wolves created a decent amount of chances, again similar to the United game, they were kind of ineffective in front of goal, kind of wasteful in front of goal. So I'm expecting that for that to improve. Maybe they bring in a striker before the window closes, especially if they get some money from City for Matheus Nunes. So maybe you don't have to keep trying to play Fabio Silva. I don't know if he's still ready for the Premier League. He probably needs to go on take a different move for his career. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out for him. Although Cunha played well again, so I expect him to be a little bit more effective in front of goal, especially as the season goes on and they get more chemistry with their teammates. But yeah, the next team is Arsenal. I think they put in a really good performance in the first half, especially. They were dominating Crystal Palace, had like 70-75% possession. Obviously, like triple or quadruple the number of passes that Crystal Palace had. I thought Crystal Palace was actually, once again, they were solid defensively, like they were against in the first game against Sheffield United. Against the step up in competition, obviously they were having that low block, trying to park the bus, especially in that first half. Like I said, with Arsenal dominating the possession, all Crystal Palace had to show for it. To show for in the first half was probably just a couple of out balls to IU or um, to Eze and putting in some crosses that were really not going anywhere. And Arsenal was, I have to give them credit. They were really good defensively. Declan Rice was probably the man of the match in this game. He was even making runs into the final third. Odegaard fed him. And he had a nice clip ball to Eddie Nketiah, who probably should have buried the chance. Um, Eddie Nketiah is probably going to be the story of this, or story of the early season for Arsenal. He scored in that first game against Nottingham Forest, but um, the second game he just wasn't clinical enough to get a goal in the first half. But obviously Arsenal got that penalty from that free kick situation where he made a good run. So it was kind of a really good Nketiah performance without the goals. Um, Kind of similar to Jesus, big chances missed, BCM. But yeah, if he needs to put away those goals, because I don't think he helps as much in the buildup as Jesus, but he should be the goal scorer if he gets in those one-on-one with the keeper opportunities. And I thought he could have been a bit stronger. He probably would have gotten the penalty, especially on that first one when the ball came to him. He let it roll past him, had the defender on his back, and he kind of just fell backwards and kind of hit it on his weak foot, on his left foot, and hit the post. Obviously unlucky not to score, but if he just probably been a bit more firm and a bit more decisive um, in front of the goal, he probably would have gotten a penalty. Just because if the guy's pulling you back and you don't go down as easily, and you actually try yourself to stay up, I think the referee does give that penalty sometimes, or most of the time. So I think he would have gotten that. But even on the second one too, not the shot where Rice fed him, but the other one where he was trying to dribble past the defender and he kind of goes to his knees too quickly. I feel like he still needs to. The ref's not going to give him those easy decisions. He's not getting those superstar calls yet that maybe another player would. But yeah, he just needs to continue what he's doing. He's getting a lot of chances. Arsenal created. Uh, they probably should have been 2-3 goals up. Even Martinelli had an early chance in the second or third minute. Early build up from Arsenal got to Havertz I think on the right side of the box. He fed it to Martinelli on the left side, and he missed he tried to cut back in on his right foot, but the defender had already gotten there. But good performance from Palace, I thought, defensively as well. Tyreek Mitchell, I think he's probably gonna make a step up in the next, maybe not this summer, like 2024 summer maybe. He'll probably get a move to a bigger team if he wants to. Especially if Eze and Olise leave maybe next summer as well. But yeah, really good performance from Arsenal, I thought, even going down to 10 men. Obviously, a ridiculous call on Tomiyasu. Like I said before, the refs are handing out yellow cards like willy-nilly. Gets it for time wasting, even though I saw a stat, I think, on Twitter that the average like throw-in time while the guy is waiting to throw in is like 25 seconds, and he got booked within like 23 or 24 seconds. And most of the time wasn't him. I feel like almost in every game you see the winger, he goes and gets the ball. If there's some early opportunity to throw in the ball, then he does so. If not, then he just waits for his fullback and he tosses it back to the fullback for the fullback to throw it in. So same thing on this side. Havertz had it for like the first 10 seconds, and then he didn't see any quick option to throw, so he handed it back to Tomiyasu, and Tomiyasu waited like 5-6 seconds and he got a yellow card. So kind of a dumb decision there, but you kind of have to know how the refs are calling it. So he needs to be a little bit smarter. And he's honestly so unlucky with game time, whether it's injuries or dumb decisions like this. I feel like he's gotten a red card or what was it, against City, I think last year at home, I forget it was home or away, but he passed it basically straight to Kevin De Bruyne in the final third, and he let him straight on goal. But Tomiyasu is kind of unlucky. I don't know if he's not getting enough game time to really cement any position on the field. So Timber got injured. He was finally time for him to play a couple games and get his rhythm back, in terms of actually playing first team football, not just coming off the bench. But yeah, unlucky for him to get that second yellow as well, even though it was a light foul, I think. It just The ref's always gonna always calls that when the guy can be basically running almost on goal, which I think IU was. I think there was nobody behind Tomiyasu, which is probably the main reason that he got the yellow card. He kind of just probably just held his shoulder a little bit, and he got the yellow card. But yeah, the ref was letting Ayu get away with some other calls as well because he had a yellow card and he was holding Saka from behind. But obviously, like I said, there's still defenders available even if he let Saka go. So I think that's why he didn't get the yellow card for that, like Tomiyasu did. When there was basically nobody to cover for Tomiyasu, Ayu would have been running straight on goal. But yeah, pretty good performance from Arsenal. They're again gonna be really solid defensively this season. Um, Rice was comfortable. Saliba was comfortable. Ben White, and even when Gabriel came on, he was comfortable holding the back line for the last 20 minutes. And then Jorginho was excellent. I thought he was playing those little 1-2s with everyone switching the ball, even while down 10 men, just to keep Arsenal, away from their own goal, just because like 25 minutes or 30 minutes of a red card, defenders get tired. It only takes one moment to switch off or to concede a goal. So I thought Jorginho came on, put his foot on the ball, and controlled the game a little bit. But I think in terms of fourth place, I think Newcastle's a decent that's a decent spot for them. I think we already discussed that game. So I think Chelsea's gonna have to drop out of the rankings probably just for that terrible cameo by Caicedo, terrible miss by Enzo Fernandez for the penalty, got saved by Areola. But yeah, kind of a lackluster performance for them. They kind of just Chukwuemeka had an excellent goal to basically get that in and out on Suchek, and then one in the top corner for the goal. But other than that, pretty lackluster performance from Chelsea. I watched most of the game, and they were getting close, but they never like had a clear opportunity. I thought on goal, but Sterling I thought was excellent, getting the ball in the half space and driving at defenders, taking people on, trying to get in the box. They definitely had their chances, but they just couldn't convert their chances on goal. And Kunku will definitely help with that. So I think it's a little bit early to obviously write them off as like a top, as write them off as a non Champions League team, but are finishing in the non Champions League spots. But when Nkunku comes back, I still expect them to be a really good team. Obviously Enzo, Caicedo, and whoever plays that third spot, whether it's Gallagher or somebody else, will still be a competitive midfield as well. It'll be interesting to see who actually plays at number 10. Maybe they play Caicedo, Enzo, and then Nkunku as the number 10. That would be interesting with Jackson in front of him, and then Sterling and Mudryk maybe on the wings, especially with Chukwuemeka getting injured. So we'll see how they play out. Obviously, Pochettino has a big developmental job to take care of. But when you spend $1 billion, people are gonna make fun of you that you can't sustain you can't beat West Ham without one injured Nkunku. So you know and then on top of the fact that Caicedo conceded a penalty in his first appearance for the club. So, people are going to clown, people are going to get their jokes off. I still think Chelsea's going to be good, but they must improve obviously. And I think they are expected to improve with how young their squad is. But it's just going to be how fast or how slow do they actually improve to beating and taking care of at least of these, non-top six sides, non-big six sides. Team like West Ham, even though they're at home, there's Chelsea still has a big talent gap, big spending gap between those guys. But I think the problem with Chelsea is that they've spent a lot of money, but the players are not really proven yet. Especially with Mudryk and even Enzo is still pretty young, I think. So a lot of their big money sign, even Caicedo, most people expect him to just be like a kind of a ball winner, tackle machine. But when you spend 110 million on the guy, you kind of expect him to be a little bit more impactful. Be a little bit more like Rodri, kind of win the ball back and start the next phase of build up into your offensive side of things. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. I think Chelsea probably drop out of the top eight. Top eight for now. Newcastle fourth. I think that's a good spot for them. Let's see, Liverpool. I think the options are like Liverpool, Villa, Brentford obviously had a good win over Fulham. They absolutely peppered them, even at Fulham Stadium. But Fulham is kind of a scary team right now, like in terms of not the good scary, the bad kind of scary, because they've conceded a lot of chances and they've played Everton and Brentford, which is not a good sign for them. So um, Brentford is still clicking on even without Ivan Toney, Mbuemo and Yohan Wissa is still playing well. I feel like they're one of these teams just like Brian that just continue to put players in their system and they still continue to play well. I think I said last week, Tom Frank's still doing a great job out there. So we'll see what happens with Brentford. I think Liverpool could go fifth right now, just because they were sixth before. Yeah, the start of the rankings were from last week. So yeah, Liverpool were sixth. So I think it's that a decently comfortable win at Bournemouth outside of like the first 10 minutes where Allison and Trent were pretty sloppy, especially in that midfield spot. I expected him kind of to be more careful with that touch or just hit it right back to Allison or hit it back to Van Dijk. Instead, he tried to control it, but it got away from him and Bournemouth ended up scoring. But I think that's fine for fifth Liverpool. I think Spurs and Brentford. I think that's a good spot for them as well. They obviously tied in the first game week, and they took care of business in the second game week. So Tottenham against United. Tottenham's midfield obviously put out all-star performance. Very professional performance. Bissouma and Sarr and who's the third guy playing? I think it was James Madison obviously. So in the first half, they didn't look that good, to be honest. Manchester United had them, kind of on the ropes a little bit. Rashford missed a header from like a yard out. Bruno missed a header from a couple yards out. Um, Excellent passes too, as well, to get them in those positions. And they might have been a tiny bit offside, but you still got to put the ball in the back of the net. Refs are kind of questionable in those decisions these days. Speaking of questionable decision, I thought it was for sure a penalty on Romero, the way he stuck his arm up when he was trying to go and slide tackle. I think it was he was trying to go for the ball, but he kind of dove and then it still put his arms up. So I thought it was a penalty for sure. But like I said, the inconsistency of the refs is kind of off the charts right now. After that Onana, uh, after that Onana tackle in the first week, or basically NFL tackle, not even football tackle, soccer tackle, NFL tackle in the first week. But they let Romero slide for this time. So yeah, I think that's a fair spot for Spurs. Um, they still need to continue to build on what they had because, like I said, in the first half they were a little shaky, but second half they controlled the game more. The more worrying side of things, obviously, is for United, with their midfield kind of getting ran over in that second half. They just looked tired, physically and athletically. They didn't really have the legs to keep up with Bissouma and Sarr. Um, Basuma was obviously one of the biggest signings a couple of years ago when he decided to join Tottenham. I think everybody was after him, City, United, Arsenal, and he decided to go to Spurs. Obviously, he had a criminal case at that time, but I think that's gone away for now. But yeah, I mean, he was still a quality player. He was basically Caicedo like 2 years ago. That's the kind of profile that he was brought into, that he was that he was playing at Brighton. He was Caicedo before Caicedo. But yeah, he still has a lot of talent, and he showed that in this game. Even getting into his own box, uh, doing back heels and megging people. I think it was Meg Casemiro as well, or Mason Mount, one of those guys. But yeah, really impressive performance from their midfield. Obviously, Sarr is still pretty young, so we'll see how consistent he is. But yeah, a guy I forgot to mention with Liverpool was Szoboszlai. I thought he was excellent in that game. Obviously, he had the penalty. He won the penalty in the first goal, which probably is a penalty because the guy sticks his foot out. The guy sticks his foot out, so it's. I think it's the ref can call the penalty every time because if you don't get the ball and you stick your foot out and you lunge at the player, the ref is gonna almost always call that a penalty. I remember Arsenal rumored him with him a couple of years ago with Szoboszlai, and I thought he looked really excellent technically. He has that big frame. He can run. Um, and he can play that 8 or that 10 position. He's a good ball striker, dead ball striker, free kicks. He's pretty technically sound player in the attacking third. So I think Liverpool will definitely use a player like him, and I think he'll be excellent for them this season, especially if they get another. All they need is a defensive midfielder now. But yeah, we'll see, and we'll wait and see who they get besides Endo, who they got from the Bundesliga. But I think next, yeah, Tottenham took care of business second half. Like I said, Brentford took care of business at Fulham, 3 goals. Um, Basically created a bunch of chances, 3.7 expected goals, and Fulham, like I said, they look pretty bad right now, especially without Mitrovic. Um, they they honestly could be in that relegation fight, especially them, Everton. I would say Sheffield and probably Luton. Um, they're probably going to be those 4 teams in that relegation fight. The rest of the teams look a little bit better, but yeah, that's who I would go for right now. Obviously, Luton Town and Burnley didn't play. I think their game got postponed because their stadium is still behind those houses. I don't think that's like a proper. It meets the proper requirements and standards for a Premier League stadium. Just Google Kenilworth Road. Just Google Luton Town Stadium. You'll see it's basically surrounded by houses. It's not even like a proper entrance to the stadium. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So number 8, I would probably um might be a reappearance for Aston Villa. I thought they were pretty solid in their win. They kind of needed that win against Everton. Like I said, Everton, one of the worst teams right now, I think, in the league. Um, but yeah, Villa needed that performance, putting 4 goals past them, dominating them on XG 2.9 to 0.6. So pretty comfortable win for them. Everton might have the worst defending in the league besides like Luton maybe, but yeah, we'll see. I think they play soon as well. Oh, Everton plays Wolves. That's who it is. So I think Wolves definitely need to convert some of those chances that they've been creating. They've had like over 30 shots in the past combined over the last 2 games. So they definitely need to start converting those shots into goals. Um, Especially if you're dominating the game or if you're creating those chances. You're not Yeah, soccer's all about, making the most of your chances basically. Any other big games I think from this week? Oh yeah, Chelsea Luton. I don't even know what to say about Chelsea if they lose this game. They have to smack Luton down at least like by 2 or 3 goals. Gets your confidence up. Let Jackson score his debut goal. It's at Stamford Bridge as well. Let him score at home. Maybe try to get Mudryk on the score sheet as well, or at least an assist as well. So they definitely need that win badly. It's on Friday night as well, so all the eyeballs will be on them on Friday afternoon or Friday evening. So yeah, that's a must-win game for Chelsea for sure. Everton Wolves, like I said, that's an early, almost relegation fight. Almost huge 3 points for either team, whoever gets away with that. Even United, I feel like they need a confidence booster. They're playing Nottingham Forest at home. Even though Nottingham Forest has looked decent, against Arsenal and against they play Sheffield United last Friday. I think United needs that win badly, especially with their midfield, struggling in the past couple games. That's a team that United needs to put away early, and hopefully get that, hopefully get that win for Ten Hag just to give him a little bit of confidence because people are asking questions of Ten Hag right now, even though like it was kind of a rosy summer, pretty optimistic summer. I think there's a lot of questions being asked of Ten Hag right now and um, how much he's trusting his own guys basically versus how much quality is actually within those guys like Anthony and even Mason Mount, who I think is actually injured right now. So um, that's already another change, obviously a change in the team coming. So even Martinez, even Alessandro Martinez, in space he looks a little rough, and when he's trying to defend in space, obviously he had that at that own goal against Spurs. But yeah, pretty interesting matchup against Forest. Arsenal versus Fulham. Arsenal should win that at home, Emirates Stadium. Definitely need to win that. Big game is obviously Newcastle versus Liverpool. I think whoever wins that is going to be an early season contender for top 4 Obviously, even trying to break into that top two with the City and Arsenal. Um, Honestly, if Liverpool wins that, I think that's a big step for them to show that they're back from last season. They're not messing around this year. But tough game again for Newcastle playing City and Liverpool back to back. So that's a really tough setup that they got, really tough, basically match schedule that they got from the Premier League to play City, Aston Villa, City, and then Liverpool, back to back to back. That's pretty tough schedule, but yeah, I think that's pretty much the big game. What's your guys' predictions for that? Liverpool versus Newcastle at St. James Park at Newcastle. Let's see. What prediction would I go for? I predicted a 1-1, I think, between Newcastle and City. Like I said, they're both good defending. So maybe I'll go obviously wrong on that. Newcastle couldn't really create much against City, especially at Etihad, but St. James's Park is really a different situation for Newcastle this time. So I think that could be like a 2-2, maybe even a 3-2 or 3-3. But I'm gonna stick with 2-2 for now, between Newcastle for that game. All right, I think that's enough for this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. That's my top 8 for week 2. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.